Hey everyone, how's it going? Today we're going to be going over and showing you how to install the etrailer trailer hitch receiver here on a 2017 Ford Edge. So this is what our trailer hitch is going to look like installed on our vehicle here. Now the entire trailer hitch has a matte black powder coated finish, which if you ask me, blends in really nicely with the underbody paneling on the vehicle here. It really doesn't stick out much at all. In addition to the aesthetics, it's also going to provide us with some protection because it's protecting our hitch from rust. So adding a trailer hitch to your Edge, it's going to be an excellent option because it's going to make your vehicle that much more versatile. Now we can obviously use the trailer hitch for towing, but let's say we wanted to hit the trails or free up some space inside the vehicle for us and the family on those long road trips, we could easily attach either a hitch-mounted bike rack or hitch-mounted cargo carrier. So in regards to those hitch-mounted accessories like ball mounts and bike racks and cargo carriers, you're going to see that we have a 2" by 2" receiver tube opening. So this is going to be the most widely compatible with all of those accessories. So you're going to have plenty of options to choose from. And then on the side here, we're going to have our industry standard 5/8" diameter hitch pin hole. It's going to work great with our 5/8" diameter hitch pin and clip. Keep in mind, these are sold separately. They don't actually come with the hitch. But the reason for that is a lot of your accessories are actually going to come with their own, so you shouldn't need to worry about picking one up. But if you do need one, we have plenty of options here at eTrailer, including some that lock. And then on the bottom of the receiver tube, we have our safety chain loops. Those are going to work great with both the smaller S-type as well as the larger clevis style. So now a couple measurements for you guys are going to help you when you're selecting your hitch-mounted accessories. First one is the distance from the ground to the top inside edge of the receiver tube. You're looking at right at 13 inches. That's going to help for your ball mount so you can get the correct rise and drop to tow your trailer level. And then the distance from the center of the hitch pin hole to the outside edge of the bumper. This one's going to be about 5 inches, so that one is tucked back there a little bit. Just be mindful of those accessories there so you can make sure that while they're in the stowed position, they don't hit the vehicle. So in regards to installation, this one is pretty straightforward. It's really not that bad at all. There's going to be no modifying to the vehicle besides those removable panels if we choose to cut those. But aside from that, as we said, it's very straightforward. It's definitely something that a do-it-yourselfer can do at home by themselves in their driveway in about an hour or two, depending on your experience level. You don't have to lift the vehicle up or anything. And the only tool you might not have is a torque wrench, but you can actually rent this for free from most local auto parts stores. So with that being said, let's go ahead and jump into the installation so we can show you how it's done. So the first step of our installation, we need to lower our exhaust. So since we're in the air, we're going to be taking a cam buckle strap, hooking it onto 2 points on the frame. I usually just use the coil springs and then pulling it tight. If you guys are on the ground, just use a couple blocks of wood or a jack stand. Next, we're going to take some sort of lubricant and we're going to be spraying down the rubber isolators on either side of the exhaust. This is going to aid removal. Next, we'll be taking either an exhaust hanger removal tool or a pry bar to remove the metal hanger from the rubber isolator. Now, because this is a sport model, we do have to remove the exhaust bezels. And on inside, there's going to be 3 torque screws we'll remove with a T20 Torx bit, and then 1 standard hex screw we'll remove with a 5.5mm socket. Next, we'll be removing our side panels, which are these here. There's one on either side. They're held in place with 2 nuts on the top and 2 screws on the bottom. The nuts on the top, you'll need a 10mm socket for. The 2 screws on the bottom of the panel will require a 7/32 socket. Once these are out, we should be able to maneuver our panel out of position. So next we need to get all of our hardware into the frame. So on each side, we're going to need to grab 3 fish wires, 3 spacer blocks, and 3 carriage bolts. And the way this works is we're going to have 3 attachment holes, 2 on the bottom of the frame, 1 on the side of the frame, and then an access hole which is located at the end of the bumper beam behind the plastic cover here. So I like to make sure I have safety goggles whenever I'm working with this fish wire, but we're going to take one of our coiled ends here of the fish wire. We're going to stick it through either of our 3 attachment holes. Here's one, and then here's one. So we're going to take the coiled end, stick it through the attachment hole. Then I'm going to fish this all the way forward until I can fish it out the end of the bumper beam. There's kind of an opening here where I can stick my hand into, and then hopefully I can fish it out there. So there we go. I was able to reach up there and grab it. Once I've done that, I'm going to stick my spacer block over the coiled end, Then I'm going to thread on the carriage bolt. And once I've done that, I'm going to take the other end of my pull wire there. I'm going to use it to pull the carriage bolt and the spacer block into the frame. So now what you want to be careful of, you want to make sure that you feed your spacer block through there first before your bolt goes through the hole. Because if you try to pull the spacer block and the bolt head through that opening in the bumper, there's not enough room. So make sure you feed them through one at a time. So now that we have both contents of our hardware into the frame there, you should just be able to pull them back through and down like so. So we've got the side one done, the bottom one done. We're going to go ahead and repeat that same process on this one here, and then the same 3 holes on the other side. Now one thing I like to make note of is go ahead and bend your pull wire there. Once you get everything through, this is going to stop them from being pulled back into the frame, and it's also going to provide a little bit of extra safety there so you don't have to worry about getting poked in the eye as much. So now that we've got all of our hardware in place, we're going to go ahead and grab an extra set of hands so we can raise our hitch into position. So you do have to push these side bolts back into the frame there in order to slide your hitch up, but once you do that, you'll just pull them straight out, and this will actually just hold the hitch into position. And now we can go ahead and install our remaining fasteners here on the hardware. So we've got all of our hardware installed, so I'm going to come back with a 3/4 inch socket and snug everything down. So now we'll come back with our torque wrench here and torque everything down to the specifications in your instructions. So now we have our side panels that we need to go ahead and reinstall, but before we do that, we do have to do some trimming. We're actually going to be losing about 3/4 of this flange here because we're only actually going to have one attachment hole left. This large circular hole and this forward attachment hole, those are both going to be covered, so you'll just go ahead and cut this here and then bring it over, and then we can reinstall it just using the same steps that we showed you to remove it. Now if you didn't want to trim, I suppose you could just leave these off. It probably is a little bit better though to have them on there just to offer some more protection. So go ahead and trim those out using the diagram in your instructions, slap them back on the vehicle. And now we can go ahead, raise our exhaust back up into position, and then if you had the sport model, reinstall your little exhaust bezels. So we've got everything back on the vehicle now. That's going to do it for our look and installation of the eTrailer trailer hitch receiver here on a 2017 Ford Edge.